above. Obviously, we broke through here, but let me show you what my favorite one is. And this is the one that I'm in. This is sugar. You see that?
Yeah.
Long time sugar. Like you see how much more room
You
that we
called
could actually run on this?
you called that 2 days ago that I was gonna break through.
Yeah.
And
So the question is, does this have further to go? Is this a fair price for it? I mean, like obviously, you look up all the way up there, like, hey, can sugar get to like 25? I mean, it could, right? But right now, what you're starting to see is this sugar movement is because of it's now more worth it for the Brazilian farmers
mm,
to switch to making sugar-based ethanol rather than a granulated sugar for foods, right? So
like
the more
sugar
that
cube.
right, so the more the sugar that gets used for ethanol to make up for the high price of regular gasoline, the less sugar you have left. In addition to the sugar that you have that's stuck floating around somewhere in the ocean because of the
Yeah.
whole because of the whole crisis right now.
Same thing with corn.
Yeah, corn. I think wheat is a good one. Wheat is yeah. These charts all look super super bullish. What's the other one? Soybeans is a little bit more complicated. So the soybean thing is heavily dependent on a deal with China and whatnot. I mean, we saw this big spike down on what was it, the day after the China news came out. But I would exercise patience with this because there's soybean oil. These are all contracts you can actually trade on the Merc actually. So there's a lot of options you like this. But if I had to pick two, I'm going corn and I am going sugar. Sugar, I'm already in.
And with the soybeans, right? What would you say is like some indicators that you're waiting for?
Okay, so out of the big four, I would say the soybean chart looks the most. I don't want to say bearish, but it doesn't look nearly as exciting as the other ones.
Hmm.
And I call them the big four because TAGS. That is the what does it stand for again? It's like an agricultural commodity fund. Right. So this basically tracks the corn, wheat, soybeans, and sugar. Those are the big four, and this goes into this commodity ETF, and you can use it as a proxy for futures trading, right? So uh, that's why I call those the big four. So out of these, I like sugar and I like corn the most.
And it makes sense too because like corn's used for so much like stuff, like corn syrup, all that stuff, like sugar, same
Right.
thing.
Well, the reason why I like these two over the other two, right, is because wheat is wheat. You have to eat it, right?
Yeah.
And but corn and sugar are big ingredients in ethanol. And
Mm.
with gasoline essentially doubling at the pump or tripling for depending on where you live, alternate fuels of energy are going to get bid up too because they want to save money, so
Mm.
they need more ethanol. Usually, it's not like when gas is $2 a gallon at the pump, people don't really care about ethanol, but now they really want ethanol now. So that leaves the leftover for human consumption. On top of the fertilizer crisis, it decreases the number, and it's like you
Mm.
have a much much smaller supply
Yeah.
than before. So that's going to drive prices up at least in the short term. I think a lot. I think that all of these, if you look at this tags chart, this has got a good amount to run as well. They got to be really careful here because
How
it.
long do you think we see this run for?
I think however long you see the war run for,
Mm.
right? And they got to be really careful here because this is right now in at least in the northern hemisphere, it's planting season,
Yeah.
right? So during planting season, like if you miss your chance to apply fertilizer, like you can't just go back and add it later on.
And
So
isn't there a fertilizer shortage?
there's that was the shortage I was just talking about. So it's you can't just add it on. So basically, what you have to do is you have to accept that you're getting a lower yield for your crops, which means you're going
You're
to
not getting
harvest
as
less
much.
in
Yeah.
in the fall. So if they're not careful, like you could be looking at a famine type of situation or this food squeeze. Is like this is like none of this is good at all.
I strongly disagree.